Hi, my name is Olola Bode. I'm passionate about stirring you up to live the dreams God has put in your heart and helping you fulfill your purpose. This week, I'm super excited about the episode I'm sharing because I'm going to be sharing something that I just learned about, which I know is going to help you grow as well. One way you can intentionally grow is that when you learn a new thing, look for someone to share it with, because that way you keep growing and then they start growing as well and they can share with somebody else as well. So last week I was listening to John C. Maxwell and he was sharing about 5 stretch statements that can help you to grow in this season. 5 stretch statements that are going to take you to your next level. Are you looking for a way to get to your next level? It might be time to stretch. A rubber band doesn't really have any more use than its stretch. So if this rubber band is broken, it's kind of useless. So you and I often have to find a way to intentionally add value to ourselves. How do we do that? By stretching. And stretching often comes out of our comfort zone. Often when you stretch, it's not always comfortable, it's not always easy. If you decide to stay consistent on it, you're going to reap the results. So the first statement is the growth stretch. And that says, no matter what you're doing, there's always a better way. And if you look at this crisis that has just happened, this pandemic, you can actually see that statement in action. In this season, we found new ways of navigating life. We found new ways of doing things. If you had told us to do things this way sometime last year, we wouldn't have been able to do it because people were not thinking in that line. So now we've been able to navigate. It's like a detour. Like when you're on a detour, you want to come off it, but you actually have to follow the route. And as you follow, you learn a new way of getting to where you're going. The same way, when you're on a growth stretch, you learn, you have new ideas, you gain new experiences, new way of doing things. So question I'm going to ask you today is, how can you grow outside your comfort zone? What can you do at this time to further stretch you, to further take you to where you want to go? The second stretch statement is the creative stretch. It says there is always an answer and there's always more than one answer, and that answer is always outside your comfort zone. So just like I said, it's always outside our comfort zone. So what can you do in this season to stretch you on the creative side? How can you be creative? Maybe in your business, maybe in your career, maybe you're thinking, I need to bring in more money. How can you be creative? What can you do that's going to bring a creative side, that's going to bring in new business for you, that's going to, how can you be creative even in parenting in different ways? How can you be creative in this season? The third stretch is intentional stretch. That's my favorite because my word for the year is be intentional. So the intentional living is the bridge between intentions and actions. It takes you from having good intentions to having good actions. So it's not just good enough to have good intentions, it's even better to have good actions. So the intentional stretch means that you intentionally, you're intentional about everything you're doing. You're purposeful. Let everything have a purpose. Be intentional about, about doing things, about being focused. Be intentional about everything you do in this season. Be intentional about growing, about parenting your children, about going to the next level. Whatever you have to put in place, be intentional about it. The fourth stretch statement is the thinking stretch. And John Maxwell said, the thinking gap in life is the way people think. The Bible also says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So how can you move from where you are to where you want to be? Thinking. As a man thinks in his heart. So if you think you're not where you want to be, how can you move from where you are to where you want to be? Think. And you can change your thinking by renewing your mind. You can change your thinking by reading the Word of God. I would say in regards money, you can change your thinking by reading books that are going to help you to shape a new way of thinking. Maybe you've had issues with saving. You might need to get some books on how to save money, on how to spend less. You might need to change your thinking in that area. And whatever area you might need to increase your capacity so that you can begin to think better. Books are a good way that can help us change our thinking. The Bible is the first book, and then other books in whatever area that you need help in, begin to get books in those areas. The fifth stretch statement is the perspective stretch, and this just talks about how we view things. It says how we view things is how you do things. How you view things is how you do things. So in this season, what is your perspective on what's going on? Do you have a negative perspective? Do you have a positive perspective? Because the way you view things is how you're going to think on things. It's the actions you're going to take on things. For example, Philippians 4 verse 8 says, summing up, friends, I'll say you do best by filling your minds and meditate on things true, noble, reputable, authentic, compelling, gracious. The best, not the worst. The beautiful, not the ugly. Things to praise, not things to curse. That's from the Message version. So in this season, look for a way that you can stretch outside your comfort zone. And to encourage you, I'm going to be sending you a link. I'm going to put a link in the description below for this stretch statement. You can actually put it somewhere that you can see daily. You can put it on your fridge. It's just going to encourage you that you can stretch outside your comfort zone. If you've enjoyed this episode, can you do me two favors? First thing, can you subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can keep on getting faith-building motivational messages? And the second thing is, can you share it with someone who will share it with someone who will share it with someone so you can bless them as well? Have an awesome week. I'll see you again next week.